Jay here from Stretford, Paddock. This is the Tier 1 Transfer Podcast. Joining me, as always, I was going to say as always.
No, I was going to say it's not as always.
Not as always, is Ronaldo Brown back from his sabbatical. You okay, brother?
Sabbatical, we call it that. I got caught out, didn't I?
Yes.
Won't get into that, though.
We won't get into that. And also, we've got a special guest joining us all the way over from Germany, who's away with the German national team, is the Sport 1's chief reporter, Patrick Berger. Patrick, how are we doing?
Hey guys, I'm fine. I hope you too. I'm here in Herzogenaurach. I think it's hard to pronounce for English speaker. It's a very small city next to Nuremberg, like 15 minutes away, and the German national team is training and practicing here.
I mean, yeah, I won't...
And there is a big ball.
You're getting distracted.
I can see that, yeah, just a little bit. I won't try with the pronunciation because I'll get it wrong. You must have been impressed with the recent Germany result as well.
Yeah, I was. It was a tough start, 1-0 against France, but it was a very good performance against Portugal, 4-2 against the European champion. And yeah, a very good performance by Robin Gosens, especially the star of Atalanta Bergamo. So we are in a good shape with Germany, with national team.
Speaking about that Gosens, when I first saw him, I thought, is that Lucas Podolski?
Yeah,
in disguise. He looks a lot like him on first glance.
He does look a little bit like Lucas Podolski. I don't know, a few people have said that.
Yeah, I've seen it on Twitter, and when I saw it at first, I was like, wait a second.
But he's saying, but he's saying, I asked him, but he's saying, hey guys, I don't see or I'm not similar to him, so it's quite funny. But the people outside, they think, hey, he looks like Lucas Podolski.
Yeah, there's worse people to look like, to be fair. Moving on from the German national team to the English national team, Jadon Sancho. Obviously, we know you've been covering this we spoke to you last summer. When you were talking about it, and you've been covering this quite a lot recently. What's the latest with Jadon Sancho's move to Manchester United? What can you give us in terms of an update?
Yeah, the latest is I also reported that there is a second improved offer or bid from Manchester United on Jadon Sancho. It's around 85 million euro, but included bonus, and this is way too less for Borussia Dortmund. They want 90 million euro as a guaranteed sum, and so we all have to wait.
We had a similar situation last summer where Dortmund sort of set a deadline, they set a price tag or a fee, and United didn't meet that. Do you expect Dortmund to sort of be as sort of stern and as play hardball again? Do you think there is any budging, or do you think they are going to stick to their guns?
Yeah, the situation is way or more different than last year. Last year, the asking price was 120 million. There was a gentleman agreement with Jadon and his camp, and the deadline was the mid of July, but the mid of August it was a bit later. But now the deadline is a bit looser. The Borussia is going to the training camp to Switzerland on the 23rd of July, and the BVB bosses they want to have this transfer until the 23rd of July, but as I said, the deadline is a bit looser. If an offer went in or comes in 3 or 4 days later, it's not a problem. So, and the asking price is now 90 million euro plus add-ons. Add-ons are not the biggest problem, as I heard. I was told that there are some problems with the payment installment. I think this is the right word. The BVB want a shorter payment installment, just 2 or 3 years, and Manchester United, they want 4 or 5 years. So there are still details to be made, and they are still far away to meet. So let's wait and let's see.
We'll have to see how likely are Dortmund to kind of pull the plug if United continue to mess around over the fee?
Yeah, in Dortmund, all the people in Dortmund, they say to me that they expect Jadon to leave. So they are looking for new replacements, Noni Madueke and also Daniel Malen. They are the top candidates as a successor of Jadon Sancho. And I talked to 2 bosses of Borussia Dortmund, and they said, hey, I don't know why Manchester United don't get us the money, the 90 million euro. It's okay for a player like Jadon. And the people from Dortmund, they said they think that Manchester United don't know how good Jadon really is. And you see it in England. I think the appreciation is way or more different in England than in Germany. Here in Germany, he is a hero. He is one of the best players in the German Bundesliga. And you see it in England. He's now not playing at the English national team, and this is a big problem, I think.
Do you think we could see a repeat of last summer if United don't actually match what Dortmund are asking for? Because Obviously, you mentioned that Dortmund are looking at possible replacements and have almost resigned to the fact that Sancho will probably leave. But if United actually don't match the fee, could you possibly see the fact that Dortmund will just not end up selling him in the end?
Yeah, no, I think that at the end the transfer will work. I think that United, or that they will meet at the point. Last year I said Sancho is staying, and now I would say Sancho is leaving.
I mean, you mentioned there the fact that Dortmund are already looking for replacements. That's a pretty big indication that they're planning ahead. We know Dortmund like to plan ahead, and that was part of the problem last summer when it was dragging on. They already started planning for the season with Jadon Sancho. The fact that they're planning for the season without him, that should give us an indication that this deal, I don't know, can we start getting optimistic now as Manchester United fans?
Yeah, it is, of course. Last year they weren't so far with other players. As I heard from the Dortmund side, they are very clear, very far with one player. I think it's Daniel Malin. So everything is clear. The personal terms are agreed. As I heard, it's a contract with Manchester United around, I think it's around 5 years. It's a long-term contract. He will earn more money, a big salary at Manchester, around 15 million. Now in Dortmund, he has around 8 million euros. So everything is clear. Just the two clubs has to match, and I expect that they will match and they will find a solution.
Just wanted to ask you, Patrick, you've seen a lot of Jadon Sancho. You said that Dortmund have a feeling that Manchester United don't understand just how good Jadon Sancho is. Do you think, from what you've seen, that he is worth that fee? Do you think he should command that 90 million fee?
He's really one of the best players I've ever seen in the Bundesliga. He's very fast. He is now more professional than in the last years. I heard the stories from the training. He was too late. He was too long in the bed, and and now he's very professional. He's in a good shape. He's in a good mood. And the second part of the last season, he was one of the key players to win the DFB Pokal Cup final with Borussia Dortmund. And in my opinion, Jadon Sancho has a massive impact on every team in the world. So, of course, he would help Manchester United. And, of course, he would also help Borussia Dortmund. But we have to wait and we have to see what happens.
Certainly do.
Certainly agree. He's mint, isn't he? If this deal was to fall through, do you believe there's any possible alternatives for United across Europe in a right-wing position or even within the Bundesliga?
There are talks with the representative of Kingsley Coman, FC Bayern Munich. There is no solution found at the moment with Bayern Munich to extend the contract. And he's like a plan B. He has Pini Sahavi. We all know him. He's a very experienced agent in this business, and he is in contact with the Man United bosses, and he could be a plan B. Maybe there are more plan Bs. I don't know exactly, but of course, Kingsley Coman, he's one option.
We've not seen Jadon Sancho play for England in the Euros at all. Is that taking people in Germany by surprise? Because you've seen how good Jadon Sancho has been for Borussia Dortmund. He's not got any minutes so far in this competition. What's the sort of feeling over in Germany? Is that something that the people in Germany are surprised at all?
Yeah, of course. Also here in the training camp with the German national team, we are here with around 200 journalists and also a lot of reporters who are covering news about Borussia Dortmund. And we are all wondering why Gareth Southgate don't give him the chance or doesn't give Jadon the chance. So we are all a bit surprised and wondering, and hopefully he will or he has the chance to show what he really can at three lines.
And just finally, I just want to ask you, obviously, you're over there with Germany. They've had the good result against Portugal. Is confidence high now in the German camp? Do they think that they can go on and win this competition?
Of course. The people in Germany, they believe again in this team. It was a big disaster in 2018, the first time ever a German team went off in the group stage. So people are now very confident because of people like or player like Thomas Müller, or player like Mats Hummels, who are back again at the German national team, and of course of Robin Gosens alias Lukas Podolski. So the emotions are back here in Germany, and people believe that there are chances to win the title, and so we are very confident.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are sleeping on Germany because I think this is the first time they've come into a tournament like this ranked outside the top 10 in the FIFA rankings, and people need to realise that when it comes to competition time, Germans usually step up.
Yeah, yeah, you can never count Germany out when it comes to the competitions like the Euros or the World Cup. They're always there or thereabouts. Patrick, it's been great chatting to you. We appreciate you coming on the channel, and we're all following you on social media because we know you're on top of the Sancho news. So as soon as it breaks, I'm sure you'll be all over it.
I try to do my best, guys. Maybe we see in London when the three lions meet up with the German national team.
Yes, definitely. We'll have to meet up. Thanks a lot, Patrick. He's a nice guy, isn't he? Patrick Berger, friendly guy.
He's a nice guy, man.
Yeah,
good
for him to come on the channel again and chat to us. Knows his stuff. Obviously, he's over there with the German national side. He's been covering Dortmund for quite a while now, and he's quite close to the Sancho deal. From that, Ronnie, did you get the impression that this is it now? It's going to happen? Because he seemed a lot more confident this summer than last summer when we spoke to him.
Exactly. Last season, people were very optimistic, and we all were. We all thought it was pretty much going to be done and dusted last season as well. And he was the one person that we kind of spoke to and got on, and he was telling us he was quite pessimistic about it. He was saying he doesn't see Sancho leaving. He obviously knew something that
he was right as well, wasn't
he was very right.
He was
Literally everything that Patrick Berger said last year in the F1 podcast was right. So he must know. He knows his stuff. And the fact that he seems so positive about it and he expects Sancho to actually leave this time, I think we can get a little bit giddy.
Cautiously optimistic, I think is the...
I'm not saying that phrase again. I've overused it since you said it the other day.
Sorry. One thing I like what he said, he was talking about Jadon Sancho. Obviously, he's watched pretty much every game Jadon Sancho's played for Dortmund, and he talks about his progression, not just as a player, but as a professional. He used that word, professional, and there were these sort of question marks about sometimes when he was, now and again, not very often, but might be late for training or whatever. But he said he's taking his professionalism up a gear. Is that something that you sort of gives you confidence that Jadon Sancho is ready for Manchester United?
He 100% is ready for United. Jadon Sancho, no one can argue he's got all the talent and all the ability in the world. And even just on pure eye test, when you're watching him, you can see the kind of player he is. But then when it comes to the actual production, not many players in world football have produced what he's produced in the past couple of years. And that's just the bottom line of it. And there's literally no excuse for United not to get that done. It's someone that we've chased for so long. And if you end up not actually getting him in the end, it just continues to look really, really damning on United in general and the way that we negotiate and the way we navigate transfer windows. We need to be better, and we need to make a statement. We've spoke all this about we want to improve, we want to get back to title winning, we want to challenge City. These are the type of players you need to bring in to do that. Simple as. And if we don't get it done, we're just stagnant and we kind of plateau again, and it's just frustrating for us as fans, and we want to see that ambition. And I think if it's an extra 10 million, why don't you just do that? I don't understand. It's getting me frustrated.
No, mate,
I think we're all frustrated about it.
Honestly, so I think Ronnie, I'm completely with you. He was funny there because he was mentioning as well there's a surprise element over in Germany that Jadon Sancho, at the time of recording this anyway, we've had 2 games for England. He hasn't featured at all in either of those games. This is a kid who's been mega productive towards the end of the season. Shone, as he said in the German Cup final, can't kick a ball for England. And he said the German sort of press and the people over in Germany are surprised by it. Have you been surprised that Gareth Southgate hasn't turned to Jadon Sancho yet?
I've been very surprised, but you know what it is, we did mention he's not seemed too favourable towards Jadon Sancho in general. Even in the past year, if he plays him, it's usually cameos or just a random start here and there. It doesn't seem like someone that he's got as one of his favourites. And Gareth Southgate seems to be someone who has that kind of favouritism element, that kind of Premier League bias, as people have called it, which is very true because Gareth Southgate probably goes and watches all these Premier League players and kind of liaises with all the coaches and stuff like that, and then kind of gets close to him in that sort of way. And then because Jadon Sancho's out there in Germany doing his thing, it might just be a little bit of that. I don't know what it is, because it must be that, because there's no other reason. He's good enough to start. He's good enough to play. He's one of the best players England have right now. And the fact that he can't even get in the squad is a bit like...
Yeah, because the first game he wasn't even in the squad, was it? In the second game, the game against Croatia wasn't in the squad. I know he's obviously, because you have to name, was it 2 players that can't be in the squad? I think it was him and Sacco, who were the 2 players. Or 3 players. So
I think it might have been
someone else.
More than that.
Maguire. Sorry, it was Maguire who was injured. The second game, he didn't get on the pitch. And when you look at players in form, I mean, Jadon Sancho's been banging in goals towards the end of the season. Rashford hasn't. Sterling hasn't. Do you know what I mean? Calvert-Lewin hasn't.
Exactly, but it just comes down... That's what football is, the industry. It's not always about performance. Sometimes it's the politics involved. You don't know what's going on. And that's the only kind of excuse you can come up with for the fact that Jadon can't get a sniff, because, as you've said, Rashford statistically had a good season last year in hindsight, but his performances over the last 6 months haven't been great.
Yeah,
He'd even say that himself.
Yeah, like just in terms of sort of, if you go like last month or so, like, and I love Marcus Rashford.
Rashford didn't start the first.
Yeah, no, to be fair, he's only had a cameo. But like, if you're looking at the players like the ones I've mentioned, they haven't had a productive end to the season. Jadon Sancho has. Scoring a brace in the cup final, banging in goals in the Bundesliga, getting assists. I think it's 5 goals and 4 assists in his last 7 games.
Exactly, he was heavily scrutinised throughout the whole beginning part of the season when his form tailed off slightly compared to what it was before the season before. But then he literally ended the season back to his old self. He was strong, goals, assists, skills, dribbling, power, pace. Just a Premier League footballer, and that's what he looks like, and that's what he is. And he comes into the squad, and because he doesn't play in the Premier League, and he's not, I don't know what else it is. It must be that Gareth Southgate doesn't want to give him a look in. It's a little bit confusing to me, but it is what it is. My thoughts on Southgate aren't great anyway. Never have been.
We'll save that for no, but you know, I mean, we can discuss Gareth Southgate all day long. I mean, fair, I understand where you're coming from on that one. Just finally, mate, he mentioned there alternatives to Jadon Sancho, which have almost been forgotten about now because everyone's so heavily invested in us getting Jadon Sancho. He mentioned Kingsley Coman, who a couple of years ago or 18 months ago was looked at as an alternative. He mentioned him, but again, it seems like, for me, I got the impression that that's not going to happen. That
was, what it is?
You know, a distant second choice.
With Kingsley Coman, he's won wherever he's gone, and he's won loads of things. He's got the the Rafael Varane gene. I know you'll mention that.
I'm going to stop mentioning that, bro, because I keep saying it and it's not fair on you.
But what happened was Bayern Munich were trying to shop Kingsley Coman like a year or 18 months, 2 years ago, and they kind of emphasised that by bringing in Leroy Sané as basically a replacement for him. Serge Gnabry was doing badness on the European scene, and then he brought Leroy Sané in to basically say, Coleman, you can go elsewhere. They was even shopping him to go on loan somewhere. And that level of player, because that's not really an indictment on Kingsley Coman, because when you watch him, he's a great player.
Yeah.
And Kingsley Coman actually reacted really well, which is a testament to him. Is what he did was he performed when all this was around him. He started performing for Bayern Munich to the point where they couldn't ignore him, or they couldn't let him go. I think he started a lot of games last season, and he even scored in the Champions League final, didn't he? That time. And but even now, I feel like there's still that thing where Bayern Munich are not too sure about him. They wouldn't mind if someone came with a big transfer fee for him, but I don't think United would go that way. But in terms of an alternative, he's not someone that, if it did happen, you'd kind of be disgruntled about. He's still a great player, and he'd still improve our squad. And if anything, Kingsley Coleman's the quality level and the ability level, he'd start right wing for United.
Yeah, 100%.
It's just that he's playing at Bayern Munich, and obviously it's one of probably the best team in Europe right about now. I know they didn't make it to the Champions League final, but in terms of the whole kind of how they performed over the past 2 years.
Yeah, if you look at everything, all things considered, definitely. I think we're at the point now, past the point of no return. If Jadon Sancho doesn't come to Manchester United, there's absolutely no excuses. Big thanks to Patrick Berger for coming on the channel again. Obviously, sunning it up over there in Germany. We'll have to get him on again as well towards the end of the season. He said he's coming to London, so we might have to meet up with him. Ronnie, where can people find you? Now you're back on the channel, back on the Tier 1 podcast.
10 days ban, innit?
Yeah. And you missed Romano, man. I still can't believe the only time you've missed the Tier 1 Transfer podcast is where we had Mr. Here We Go on.
It's all right. I've had him a couple of times before, haven't I?
Yeah, I mean,
I'll just drop that in.
He's done Ronaldo so many times, right?
No, Romano's the guy, man. He's a cool guy, man.
Where can people find you on the socials?
Ronaldo Brown _98 on Twitter. For some entertainment.
Yeah, he's always entertaining. Trust me on that front, he is. You know where to find me. You can find Patrick Berger as well on the socials, and check out Sport Irons, because they're obviously be keeping you up to date with anything that's popping off when it comes to Jadon Sancho, when it comes to Dortmund, when it comes to anything in Germany. They are the leading Tier 1 podcast or publication, I should say, for all things related to German football. So make sure you're checking them out as well. That's been Ronaldo Brown. I've been Jay Moy. This has been the Tier 1 Transfer Podcast with Patrick Berger. Thanks for watching.